beautiful. Today I want to talk about highly sensitive people, those of us who identify with being HSP, and the gift and curse of being an HSP. As we know, being a highly sensitive person comes with feeling everything very deeply. It does allow us to feel joy and wonder and love very intensely. We know that it means that we also feel pain very, very deeply. But there is a gift to that. Maybe many, but I'm going to talk about one. Since human beings in general tend to learn from moments of deep pain, like when you hit the bottom of the barrel, it means that because we feel pain so deeply, we actually have, I believe, more opportunity for growth and profound healing and expansion of our being if we choose to. And when I say if we choose to, it's because the intensity of our feelings make it pretty easy to kind of fall apart and freak out and get into depression or anxiety and overwhelm. But if we consciously make the decision to follow where these feelings lead us to, then truly we have an opportunity for growth that not everybody has. Of course, this takes courage and strength and willingness to actually look at what's coming up and not just kind of fall into it and identify with it, but use it as, I was going to say breadcrumbs, but they're kind of a little heavier than breadcrumbs, but to follow a path that can lead us to places where we really can change our life. And this is something that happened to me at the beginning of this year. For those who follow my story, my latest move. I know it's a long story here that I'm connecting with being a highly sensitive person, but I just want to share the story because it's the kind of opportunity that we have to grab onto and see what happens. I've said this January, I had to move because the Airbnb I was renting was coming to an end. Then I moved to a temporary place because I couldn't find anything else. Then after a day, I realized I was allergic, had to find a new place. And this is when the magic happened. An opportunity showed up and I really had to follow the feeling of magic and expansion and of possibilities at the same time as hearing my ego, my old self, my patterns, the me that had gotten me to this point, to scream and be afraid and saying, no, you don't do this. This is not you. In a nutshell, what happened is through serendipity, I was offered a rental, a place that I would normally never allow myself to live in. The pattern of the old me has always like hustled and scrambled, and until I called it my magic of having beautiful homes show up at a price that is comparable to a lesser place. And I've been riding this way of doing things for a long, long time. And this time it was the connection with the person that is the owner of the place, who's an old shaman, and it felt like something needed to be followed there. He had a unit in his house that was available for rent. I went to see it and I was like, oh my God, like, first of all, it's only 6 weeks. It's not my kind of place. There's no direct sunlight and it's small and the ceilings are low and there's people above and all the things that normally would not be an acceptable choice. Except that when I was there, the feeling was right. The energy of the place was right. And something in me was telling me, Annie, this is a moment. This is a moment to change something in your life, a moment to change your life and not do the things that you've always done before. In order to have a new life, you have to be a new you. Because if we just continue to be the same patterns, ways of behaving, and making the same choices as we did before, then our lives are not going to change. Because if we want a life we've never had before, then we have to do things that we've never done before and be someone we've never been before. And it was the beginning, the first few days of 2024, and it felt like, okay, 2024, a new kind of year, a new kind of me. So finally, the place opens up for a little longer, so I can be there longer, which is amazing. And as soon as I said yes to that place, I knew that the universe was going to test me. And it did. On my way to moving my things to that place, somebody texted me that had seen a post and said, just come to see the place I have that I could offer you long-term, as long as you want. 2-bedroom, high ceilings, garden in the back. But I chose to say no. There was a part of me that was screaming, Annie, you've been looking for this. And the other part was telling me, Annie, you knew that you were going to be tested. And this is the test. Go with what you felt in your heart and in your soul. So I'll just add a couple more things in there. When I made that choice, I actually felt in my whole being that I was changing my reality. It was effervescent in me, like, oh my God, something is happening. It felt like I was changing from one track in the universe, a life track, that I had been in for so long, a way of doing things and what I would say yes to and how the universe responded. And I saw this as a track where the script was already written and it was just being shuffled around, a change of actor, change of venue, change of costume. But in a way, the universe had no choice anymore but to follow kind of the scripts that were allowed in that groove. And when I made that choice, it felt the freedom and the fear of letting go of what was familiar. I mean, a part of me was screaming really loudly. But the freedom that I was feeling from being in a track where nothing is scripted yet. And this is how it feels right now. Of course, my ego and my old self, I have some moments where the old self is talking. But I've done so many new things since and new ways of being and behaviors that I'm like, I am changing my life. I don't know yet how, but I know that I've initiated it. And in that process, what I'm also going through is the grieving of the old me. I have to mourn and thank the me that got me to this point with all the homes that I've had and the way I've proceeded in life. It feels scary because I'm letting go of the familiar and I am allowing a part of me that was a pattern and an aspect of me to die. So this story had two reasons to be told. One, to bring up to date the people who are following my story. So there it is. Now you know what happened and what's happening. Two, to acknowledge that being a highly sensitive person is not easy. And we often focus on in a lot of my videos, I talk about this book, and I'm going to do it again here. This is the book that got me started to understand what is a HSP, which I had never heard about a couple of years ago, and it has changed my life. So I'm going to put the Amazon link in the description below. Go ahead, use it, and get this for yourself or for somebody you love who you know could benefit. This person is not easy, and we often focus on the difficulties that it brings to our lives in the society we live in. But it is also filled with gifts, because like everything else in life, there is two sides, right? There's the good, the bad, the light, the dark. And being an HSP comes with advantages and disadvantages, challenges and gifts. And once we choose to see where the challenges, what they can bring to us, then it opens up new possibilities for us to grow and expand. And I think for all of us who are highly sensitive, we have such a deep inner life and inner world. We ponder the meaning of things so much that it's kind of what we're longing for, right? We long for something that is an answer to what we've been seeking. We've always felt like there's something more to life. There's something more to us that is trapped inside us. And one of the paths is to look at the things that are difficult and accept to dive into them and keep alert to see where are possibilities, opportunities to truly change our life at a deep level And because we are highly sensitive, we can seeing where our wounds are and where the healing is and where the growth is, and we can do it. It's not easy every day to have, you know, the little ride that goes like this. But so if you're a highly sensitive person, an empath, a wayfinder, a sensitive, I encourage you to go with and to really be more present to the gifts and the qualities that being an HSP gives us. Okay, that's it for today. Back to my hobbit house, which is what I'm calling my little place, like a little cocoon that you can just go to everywhere in just a few steps. It's an interesting feeling that I've never had before. Something new for a new life. So there, I encourage you. Let's see what it inspires you to do. If it gives you an idea or if you see such an opportunity, please share it in the comments. If you're enjoying what I'm doing or think it has any value for other HSPs, please subscribe and share my videos. I would really appreciate that. That's it. I love you. I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.